In this video, we will be going over the Trim Multiple tool. You can find this tool in your drawing workflow under the Home ribbon and in the Modify group. It is the third tool on the toolbar. If I left click and select it, it'll open up the tool and you have three different methods. The first method is Trim and Extend. The second method is Trim. And the last method is Extend. So we'll just leave it set on the first method right now, Trim and Extend. So to use this tool, first you need to come out and select a cutting element. So I'm going to use this green line as my cutting element, so I'm going to left click and select it. And now if I want to extend these short lines up to my cutting element, I'll just left click and select it. And those elements will extend to that cutting line. You can also trim an element by selecting it. So if I were just to come out and select one of these elements, and you'll pick on the side you want to trim. So if I want to trim this upper side to my cutting element, I'll just left click and select it, and it'll trim that element. You can also drag a line to trim multiple elements at one time. So if I just left click and hold my button down and drag a line across the elements I want to trim, when I get to the other side of my element, I'll just let go of my mouse button and it'll trim those elements down to that cutting element. So I'm going to pan over to my next square, which for this method we'll use Trim. So I'm going to hit the F4 key to reset my tool. I'm going to come back up and select my Trim Multiple tool again. And then I'm going to select this middle method called Trim. So first it's going to have me identify the cutting element. So I'm going to select the green line again. Depending on which side I want to trim, I'm going to trim this upper side. Of course, I could just left click on one to trim one. But if I want to trim them all at one time, I can left click and hold my button down. And just drag that line all the way across them all. Then just let go of my left mouse button and it will trim them all at one time. So that's the Trim Multiple method. If I go ahead and pan over to the next one, hit an F4 to reset my tool, select my Trim Multiple again, then I'll come over to this last method, which is Extend. Of course, it wants me to identify my cutting element. I'm going to select the green line again. Now if I want to extend these lines up, I can just left click on each of them and it'll extend them up. Or of course, I can just left click, hold my mouse button down, and drag a line across those elements. I'm going to pan over to the next block. So maybe in this instance, I want to cut out the center part of these vertical lines. So with the Trim tool, I can do this. I'm going to hit the F4 key just to reset my tool again. Select my Trim Multiple tool. And I'm just going to come back to this middle option called Trim. So with the Trim tool, you can select multiple cutting lines by holding down the Control key. So I'm going to hold down my Control key and select both green lines. And now I'm just going to drag a line through the middle of those vertical lines. Let go of my mouse button and it's going to trim that middle part. So those are just a few ways you can use the Trim Multiple tool to modify elements in your DGN file.